All right, y'all, we got a mixed review coming in hot here about Ultra Realm. I know y'all been waiting for this one because I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I'm gonna keep it 100%. Ain't no sugarcoating here. This is a sticky situation, but we're gonna dive into this whole thing, the pros behind it, the cons behind it. Ultimately, it's not up to par, but it works. It works, I guess. But first, be sure to like, subscribe. It helps out tremendously. Thank you very much. All right, so the Ultra Realm is a very tricky one for those who are not aware, which I don't know why you will not be aware, but we got the Ultra Realm, which you can access from the quest menu. Go here, boom, like that. Just like Nameless City, okay? So it's just like Nameless City in that regard. Now, when you go into this baby, it's a real open area that's just reddened with a gray skin and some boxes placed around it. That's really what it is. And you're going to run around and kill mobs until the big boy boss pops, which is every 8 minutes. So the more mobs you kill, the more the bar goes down, and as a result, the weaker the boss is going to be. And the crazy thing, the best thing about this is that there are drops galore in here. Now this is a good thing and a bad thing. Let me explain. The drops galore are all freaking top quality augments. They're all the augments, and when I say all the augments drop in here, all the augments drop in here. Whether it's the materials or the full-blown versions, we're talking about your Grand Latias, we're talking about all this stuff, your Grand Drake Keeper 2s drop in there, as well as the ones, your Grand Latia Souls, your Lux Alpha Nows, all that drop in there. Everything drops in there. Your Progress drop in there as well, your Progress Armors drop in there as well. A whole bunch of plethora of stuff drops in here, to the point where you're kind of just like, bro, what do I even do with all this? As you can see here, there's a list right here that shows you some of the stuff that drops, and you pop that open, all these drop in there. You don't need any of the materials, even though those drop in there too, but you can get these straight out. Of course, there's a chance for a crest to drop, which you're not going to see, and then and then some join does drop in here as well. So it's really a one-stop shop for everything going in here right now. It is great if you're trying to make some Meseta right now as well, because well, these are obviously items that are worth something to some degree, maybe not entirely, because a lot of people are running it right now. So as a result, it's not going to be as nearly as efficient or moneyly worth your while as it normally would be. As you can see here, the prices on that are very, very low. Let's check this price here for this. This is very, very low, which makes augmenting super duper easy right now. So if you have had issues with augmenting, now it's the time to augment, because there is no effing excuse whatsoever in any way, shape, or form for you not to have at least decent, really top tier augments at this point. These things are dirt cheap, and if you don't want to buy them, you can go in there and farm. It's that simple. So that's the plus side here. I did say that there was potential for Meseta there, but obviously speaking here, it's going to keep dropping as people keep running it. Fortunately, that might be good for you, because I doubt people will keep running this for much longer. Quite frankly, the downside about this place is that you go in here and pretty much, dude, you run this thing and you get like one boss, maybe two bosses, and then you want to leave. Like, it's not enjoyable in that sense. You don't want to just keep running it, because it's not really anything special about it. You go in here, it's like a lazy open 32-man PSE zone with back mob placement for the most part. Now, obviously, it's heavily impacted by people who are not geared, because you kill slower. You don't get as many trials done. As such, the boss is going to have more HP, and then you're killing the boss longer. So, of course, you can always make player-specific rooms. It can be better to operate it with like 8 people instead of 32 people. If you're all geared, it'll be more efficient, because remember, mob scale. So that is an option. However, I'm speaking for the general public. The general public is going to go into these rooms, 32 people. So I'm not going to talk to y'all as if it's some silver spoon mentality, where it's like, oh, we'll just make a party. We'll just make your own room. The average person is not going to do that. 90% of the player base is going to just queue in this way. Okay, so I'm not trying to, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna. Some people will try to ostracize you or whatnot, and be like, oh, well, if you hate pugs so much, or if you don't like 32 people plus, and just make your own groups, then stop complaining or whatever. Like, bro, be reasonable, be logical. Come on. But pretty much so, do like 20 minutes and like you want to leave. And then if you don't want to leave after 20 minutes, you pretty much have to leave after 20 minutes anyway, because your inventory is straight bleep. It's gone, bro. The inventory is straight freaking obliterated in here. Because we have the clear redeems that drop in here, and then we have the Duvolks that drop in here as well. The thing here is that, yo, why do we need 2 series with tier 2 EX augments now? That's just bloat. It's just bloat in here. There's so much effing bloat. It makes me want to just like stick a needle to me and see if I explode like the freaking cherry guy in the Willy Wonka movie where he eats the food or turns to a berry and floats up or whatever. You know what I'm talking about. It's bloat. There's a lot of bloat in this thing. Now, like I said, there's a lot of great augments in here too. So it's like, okay, well, is it worth the trade-off? Sure, I guess it's worth the trade-off. But your inventory really pays for it. And I say your inventory really pays for it. I mean, you stay in here for 20 minutes and your inventory's maxed out. Like, especially if you're running efficiently, your inventory is maxed out with clear redeems out the wazoo from being in here. So that's kind of freaking annoying. Like I said, yo, why do we need 2 series with clear redeems and Duvolks, both with freaking EX tier 2 augments on them? Why? That's just, it creates confusion. It creates bloat for no reason. You feel me? It's like, there's, pick one or the other. If you give us a bunch of Duvolks anyway, may as well just be all Duvolks. Like super quick, unrare drops anyway. Just have it be all Duvolks instead of clear redeems. Now it's just confusing and making my inventory more sporadic than it needs to be. It's annoying. One of the biggest plus sides about this though is that this is great for new players. This is absolutely phenomenal for new players, because new and returning players, because you can go into this thing and, you know, like I said, everything is in here, yo. Everything is in this baby. You can go in here and you can gear up super quick and to a maximum, to a high level, to a high degree. And that's great for new players and returning players. Y'all see where I'm going with this? This is a very familiar story, because they always seem to focus on new players. Yet for veteran players, most of us, you know, this isn't overly too exciting, because for one, everything drops so quickly, right? So it's not like there's a real super big opportunity to really make a whole bunch of Meseta here, because obviously they drop so quickly and in high numbers. So the prices are dropping fairly low. Now, of course, you still make Meseta, but it's just not like super duper incentive for a lot of maybe veteran players, right? But pretty much for all of us, you know, we've put the time in farming these augments. We put the time in getting the materials for these augments. You know, we have all these augments already on our gears. We put the time in, we probably have some excess sitting over. And, you know what I'm saying? So why there's not a whole lot there for us, quite frankly. But there's a lot for new and returning players. A lot, you know. It kind of feels like sometimes they do this kind of cycle thing where it's like they pretty much just want you to play the game for about 6 months or so. They want you to get on the game, find interest in it, do a subscription for a little bit, and then around that 6-month mark, maybe you start to realize, oh, this isn't, you know, this kind of, they keep kind of doing the same thing, and then you kind of move, and then the next person comes in and they do the same thing. Kind of feels like what the model is based around. They put a pretty heavy emphasis on capturing these new players, really attacking these new players. Kind of really shows that there's a revolving door here where you have a lot of people leaving and then a lot of people entering. Not a lot of people staying though, for the most part. That kind of tells you something right there, right? But hey, it's a business, right? It's a business, so can't knock it. They're making profit. That's what they care about. That's what's important. They're making profit. They're milking us. They're milking these people. That's what they're doing. So someone's doing their job correctly because they're continually making profit and revenue off of this method. So, hey, if it's working for them. Who cares about the player base and those people who really want an MMORPG, traditional real experience that's a more in-depth for people who play long-term versus those who are just starting out and returning. Honestly speaking, as a veteran player, hell, you'd be probably better off just running the Vael fight. Not quite literally, because obviously the progress is really where you're going for that. But the Vael fight is more interesting than doing this, than doing Alter Run. It truthfully is. And if, like, sure, you have the opportunity of getting a prograde, in Vael fight, in the Malignant Vael fight. However, of course, every boss is every 8 minutes here. But honestly speaking, it might be better to just do Vael, because if you're in a group where it's taking you a long time to kill the boss anyway, every 8 minutes plus the boss kill, it's probably around 13, 12 minutes or so. Which is technically a Vael run, like a quick Vael run. So you might actually be better off running that. However, that's probably not the case because there's so many augments that are in there that are worthwhile. So there's no reason to not stack up on those. But ultimately, Ultra Realm feels lackluster. Vael feels a bit more enjoyable to do as a veteran player. Of course, Vael also is the only place for Ultia Dominance. So that still is a very good, strong reason to farm for Vael. I'm not sure if I have one on here so I can check the price in my inventory. I don't. I can make many of them, probably like 10 of them. But that would be still great because it's the only place for Ultra Dominance. So that's good that they do have a separate, option for, this one thing, the super duper augment that's coming out right now. They did not include that within this Ultra Realm. So it does give you reason to run this or run that. We'll see how long that lasts, by the way. We'll see how long that lasts. But right now, it does give you the option to run this or that. And also, Ultra Realm obviously prepares you for doing the Vael fight as well, because these augments drop like that, like butter. You know what I'm saying? They drop so quickly. So that is the plus side there in that regard. That it does prepare you and allow you to gear up and equip very quickly if you're not already geared. Or maybe if you want to, level some other classes or whatnot, now you probably have an excess of augments to potentially put onto those weapons. So this at least allows you to potentially, enjoy the game in a different manner than you have been prior. So there's pluses there, of course, but all in all around, the Ultra Realm just feels very lackluster. So that brings us to a conclusion here. What would I rate the Ultra Realm? Honestly speaking, if I really look at it, its gameplay, what it offers, its enjoyability, I'm probably rating that thing like a 4 out of 10. And I'm not even joking. The biggest plus out there is that its drops are really good, so maybe I boost it to a 5. But the gameplay, the zone in itself, is not overly enjoyable. Like I said, you spend like 20 minutes there, and then you more or less want to leave. Nameless City was better in that regard. Like Nameless City, you could actually stay there for an hour or two, and actually felt kind of fun to do. Honestly speaking, like you could, it felt very easy to do. In here, you really just like don't want to be in there for more than 20 minutes at a time. It just has this feeling of just pure redundancy. It's like it feels just stale. Because there's nothing really unique about it. You're just kind of slapping mobs around, and it doesn't even feel unique in how you're fighting the mobs. The mobs are just kind of scattered about. There's not really much thought to it. You're just kind of just slapping mobs. It's just, there's no thought at all to it. And the trial appears. The trial can be, I guess that can be fun, And then the big boss comes, which is Rennis or the guy, and I can't remember his name, the guy in the little mobile suit with the spider mobile suit. So it's like, all in all, the gameplay the gameplay loop is not really heavily enjoyable there. It really is. It doesn't feel too different. And then the zone, it's just a gray redum with cubes in it. And it's a fairly small area at that. Like, it's not really a big area. We're getting the combat sector later on, by the way, for Ultra Realm. But it's just like, there's no real uniqueness or design to it. Honestly, pretty much feels lazy. It's a lazy design. One of the downsides about this as well is that it doesn't have All Ship Matchmaking. So this really, this would help for its longevity as weeks go by and whatnot. It would help to have this always kind of having, close to 32 people in it regardless as things die down. But as we all know, they tend to have issues with All Ship Matchmaking, especially when it comes to 32 people type stuff. We saw how Nameless operated when it's very busy and there's an update where a lot of people are going into it. We've seen how those servers go kerplunk. So we already know how that works. So that's, of course, why they did not put All Ship Matchmaking. Of course, it will probably end up having it sometime in the future, but ain't no telling when that comes and if it will be relevant then. I guess by the time that they re-update the field, then possibly, I guess that's when we will see All Ship Matchmaking probably. But that's the downside right now that it currently does not have. And honestly, you know, I'm just giving a critical, you know, kind of review and response here. It's been 2 days now since the zone has been out, and we've had time to really dive into it. And I had time to kind of shape my opinion, because when I first did it, I really was like, I spent like 10 minutes in there and I was done. And so over the last couple of days, I've gone back in there, I've played it a bit more, see how my decision would change, or how my experience might change. And yeah, I've concluded it's like a 4 out of 10, dude. It's worse than Nameless City in terms of enjoyability, but it's just really good for drops. Like, it's a mega lift for drops. So there's a reason to run it for the drops in specific. But this content will be dead very soon, like 100%. It will be dead very soon. This zone right here, this Ultra Roam 32 person zone. Remember, this is the only thing we get this month in terms of like actually gameplay update. We get the unit upgrades, of course, coming too, but it's like the only thing we get this month. Give it like a week, maybe a week and a half more, and those zones are going to be very bare for the most part. Extremely bare. You might get some, I mean, there might be some people in there, but then everyone's probably going to be new players. So boss fights are going to take 10 minutes on top of the 8 minutes to respawn. It's a mess of a situation, honestly speaking. But at any rate, that was my honest opinion of Ultra Realm. So there's some pros in there, you know, but they really mostly all align for new and returning players. There's some pros in there, and there's a lot of cons in there. So all in all, it was a letdown, I would have to say, ultimately. So yeah, at any rate, what do y'all think about it? Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about it. Be sure to have discussion about it. Cordial discussions, of course. Remember, I'm just here giving a honest review. There's pros on it. There's bads on it. Simple as that. There's a lot of bads on it. It definitely did not live up to the hype at all. Be sure to like, subscribe, y'all. I'll see you in the next one. Much love. Holla.
Spike to content.